Hey folks, it's Friday the 21st of February 2025, and on Monday we had a new release of Prime come out. I believe it's version 8.45. It's a release to the website of Prime, so there's nothing you need to do to get it. Just log in and you'll have all the updates. I'm just going to give you a quick run through what's changed in this version. Firstly, if you're using the Prime Sync function and the Prime Trade portal, status changes you make against jobs in Prime will now sync over to the Trade portal. And further to that, your sync settings now include the ability to share specific job details to the Trade portal job, including the assigned name, case manager name, supervisor name, estimator name, and the client name. And you'll find those settings in administration, sync settings, and defaults. So if I go over to my admin and look for my sync settings, we'll find in the defaults tab, we'll find a bunch of new job default settings on that left-hand column there that I'm circling with my mouse that we can customize and push across with our sync. The next change is accounts receivable invoices. I've got a job open here, and if I go to my finance screen, we can see that I have an invoice that I have generated. Now, you'll only see this next change when you've generated the PDF of an invoice. So you can see I've got two other invoices there that I haven't generated the PDF for, and they don't have the new sent to client switch. So you can mark an invoice as having been sent to client, which is quite nifty, especially from a communication perspective in terms of communicating with your team. Job quick actions. So whilst I'm in the job, you can see I've got my photos open. Remember, you've got quick actions down the right-hand side of the job screen. I might just change over to the overview screen there. And one of them, which has been there for a while, is view photos, which typically shows you a tiled view of all the photos you have attached to your job. You can now filter the view by document type. So assuming that you apply different document types to your photos, you can filter by that. And you can also group by the date added, the document type, or the file type. So you've got those new filter controls on that photo widget that you can access from the right-hand side there. If we go into my wizard templates in admin, I'll just find it up in my favorites somewhere. Here it is. You can see I've got a contact wizard open. So one of the new things you can do as of this week is you can link your contact details to your contact wizard. So you can now include field types that match the contact details. And when they're completed by your contact, it will update those corresponding fields in the contact record. So how we do this is we create a step and we create a category as we normally do. And when we're at the level of adding an item here, if we go into the item, you'll see that you now have an item called contact details. And if you then select that, you'll get a form builder at the bottom. And if we select details from there and add that category in, from that category, we'll be able to access a whole bunch of contact fields. And like I said, whatever the contact enters into these fields in the contact wizard will map to their contact record directly. So that's quite a nifty feature that actually makes your wizard dump data into your contact record. Kind of cool. Um, Next change in job wizards, we can now link to um, different aspects of the system. This works kind of like an override. So what it means is you can set up one job wizard that can effectively be overridden for, different clients or different regions or different workflows. So that's effectively an override style feature in the job wizard. Loss schedules now contain or have had the photo layout adjusted, I should say. There's now a preview image to the left, and you can add multiple photos and then select which ones you want to include in your PDF and which one is set as the preview, which is kind of cool. Over in the Prime Data Center, there's a bunch of new fields that have been added to include in your reports for job dates, initial start date, and initial end date. So you've got some extra fields you can use in your custom reports in email replies sent out of the system. So this would be when, for example, you're sending an email from a job. When you see a reply, they'll now include the previous details of to, from, date, and subject. So you kind of see that header information in your replies, which makes it work a bit more like a regular email program like Outlook in terms of how it handles your replies. Over onto finance, you can now customize the tiles you see in the finance screen. So if we go into the finance screen on the job, you'll see you have these tiles along the top here. We can actually now customize the accounts receivable tab. So if you go to administration and go to the Prime UI UX option, which I've made a favorite out of in my admin menu, you will see that there's an accounts receivable this one here. Sorry, accounts receivable invoice summary widget. The default one that you'll find in here, you won't be able to edit, but if you duplicate it, you'll be able to edit it. And that way you'll be able to rearrange the tiles and add any extra tiles. You can also change the way it views. So you can actually customize the view of that accounts receivable overview page and the tiles within it, which is, again, quite a cool add-on. In your search and select fields. So if I go back to my job and I go to my job details and look at, say, where are we? My customer. Oh, here we go. Up in the site address. When I'm selecting a city, town, or suburb, if I go in there and start typing the name of a suburb, I've just typed in West Ryde, you'll see that we now have two options along the top. Partial match, which is what it's currently doing. And you can see that that's quite a fuzzy match. So it's quite broad in what it returns. And that's, by the way, it's searching through your suburbs. But if you go exact match, you'll see it targets what you're searching for a bit better. So you can swap between exact and partial when you're searching for a city, town, or suburb in your search and select fields. In our estimate settings, so if I go back to administration and go over to my estimate templates and go to my settings tab, I can now override my estimates. So again, that's your standard override block that's been added in to the estimate system. One thing on that note, another new override you can now access is the client relationship override. So that's another new feature that was added in this week. And finally, in allocation settings, which is right here in admin, we can now adjust default material and labor quantities in our allocations. So we can set the defaults and they'll be picked up for any allocation, and you can adjust from there, of course. So just remember, folks, if you go to the support center in Prime, you'll find more information about these updates. Ali has also recorded some little videos, so there's some screen recordings here of different features that have been updated this week. But you'll always find release notes for any update in the support center. So it's worth keeping an eye on at least once a month. They're usually kind of roughly monthly updates. Maybe not every month, but usually around the beginning of the month. This one has happened to come in the middle, so maybe I'm telling a bit of a lie there. But yeah, it's roughly somewhere towards the beginning of the month that they do updates. And as you can see, they're all annotated, documented, and screenshotted, and also video recorded in the support center. So keep an eye on that. I'm going to sign off now. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you around.